Hey guys, AJ here back with another one for you. It's Friday, guys. I hope your week didn't go too crazy. I hope things were kind of relaxing, right? Because guys, it is hot as balls outside. And guys, we're gonna have a little bit of a different stream today because my soundboard just took a dump over over the last couple days, so I have to find all my sound effects all over again. I don't think I've found my TCAP ones yet. So yeah, guys. Yeah, things will be a little bit different, but that's okay. So guys, let's look at a couple things, right? Guys, first of all, once again, we have to start with some of these teachers doing stuff to their students. Now, guys, I don't know why this happens. It's been going on more and more and more and more and more, guys. It's absolutely insane. And it seems like the mainstream media isn't really covering this as much as people online are. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. Look at this.
Teacher accused of sexually assaulting a young student.
Look at that.
This time, it's a woman in her 30s at a North Carolina middle school. We're breaking down this latest case of alleged teacher misconduct with forensic psychiatrist Dr. Zeev Cohen. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime.
Middle school.
I'm Jesse Weber. Let's talk about Heidi Monroe, a Spanish teacher who got fired from her job, arrested and locked up on a $400,000 bond after accusations that she raped a student. Now, Monroe, a married 37-year-old, originally from Colombia, she's been a teacher at Welcome Middle School in Greenville, North Carolina for 2 years. But after she was arrested on June 11th, she was suspended, but then her work visa was revoked and she was fired.
Ooh.
So court documents, they cite this incident between Monroe and a 14-year-old student on April 5th. We don't know if
14 years old. Look at that, guys. 14 years old. Look at that. Absolute clown world. August Line, what's going on, my friend? Addie, how's it going? Up in New York, good to see you.
if the victim was male or female. We don't have a lot of details about what happened here. Pitt County deputies say that the school resource officer started the investigation that led to her arrest. She was arraigned on...
Oh, the school resource officer is the one who did it. You know what, guys? Let's give that school resource officer a round of applause. Because oftentimes they won't do anything. They're just like some knucklehead who they just hire to wear a fake badge and don't protect the students. You know what I'm saying? So good on that person.
3 felony charges: statutory rape of a child under the age of 15, sexual activity with a student, and indecent liberties with a child. My research indicates that in North Carolina, to give you an idea of this...
You guys notice how in the southern states they have like way more charges that they can use? Even ones that it sounds like they just made up, but that's because a lot of the southern states, like stuff like this, they are not playing games about. You know what I'm saying? So say what you want about the South, man, but they sure do give these people charges. You know what I'm saying?
The rape charge, for example, is a Class B1 felony that usually has a sentencing range of 16 to 40 years in prison.
That's what I'm talking about.
Could even be life in prison for certain offenses. So you're kind of getting a sense of what we're dealing with here. She's expected back in court later this week. Now, although we don't have a lot of details, there is still a lot to break down in this. So I want to bring on forensic psychiatrist Dr. Zeev Cohen. I'm so happy to have Dr. Cohen with us here on Sidebar because he performs and conducts fitness evaluations for teachers. My understanding, Dr. Cohen, is that can include teachers who have had allegations of sexually inappropriate behavior in their past?
That's correct.
And there are circumstances where they're allowed near kids, or am I just making an overgeneralization here?
Well, if there was actual, suspicion of a contact sexual abuse, then they would usually be suspended, very quickly and removed from children, and then there would be disciplinary procedures. But often there are teachers who come my way where there's ambiguous behavior. For example, an IT teacher who's noticed that.
Yeah, Jameson, you are correct. Yeah, that's the one loophole in a lot of these southern states laws, man. Well, we got a pretty low age of consent as long as you marry him, right? Just go to her mom and dad and ask to marry her, and y'all are good. Y'all are right as rain, right? Clown world. Absolutely insane.
Maybe he was flirting with female students or taking pictures of them. So there's a question about, is there some kind of a mental health issue going on? Why is this teacher engaging in this behavior? So those are the types of cases that I've seen.
Let me break that down.
Mental health issue? Clown world. What does that matter, right?
Before we even get into this case, I find that fascinating. Look, schools can not hire somebody for a lot of different reasons. You've seen examples before where somebody has maybe not convicted of a crime, but they've done something that questions their sexual proclivities, or they've engaged in certain kind of behavior. They go to therapy. And they ultimately, a school will hire them after that?
What?
Well, sure. So these are teachers that are, already working, and, I'm in the New York area. So most of these school districts, have unions, and there are rules about, how teachers can be fired or let go. So in this type of situation, if a teacher is engaging in behavior that is suspicious or ambiguous, but there's not a clear indication of a boundary violation, then they might give the teacher a warning and then send them for an evaluation to try to understand, is there some mental health issue? Is there something that we're missing here?
And they're not fired?
To get advice from a mental health professional about whether this person is safe around children.
Right. Hey guys, look, this story is important to talk about. It's disturbing, but it's important to talk about. And it's our privilege to be able to bring you stories like this. And the reason we're able to do that, by the way, is because of the incredible support we get from our partners and sponsors. And I just want to highlight one right now for you. We'll see the story. But the story of an educator allegedly having sexual relations with a minor student is not something new, and not something new that we cover here on Sidebar. What do you make of it?
Well, it does seem to be a trend that's been worsening in recent years, but to some extent, there's also been a lack of awareness. So we usually think of sexual abusers of children as being men who are abusing usually opposite sex kids, girls. And then, we've had more awareness in recent decades about pedophilia that involves men on boys. And often we don't think of women as having sexual perversions in the way that men do. And it is true that most sexual perversions are found in men. So if you do surveys of sexual behavior, the vast majority of what we would consider paraphilias, which is the psychiatric term for sexual perversion, are actually found in men, not in women. But what we've seen in recent years is that there's been more disclosure and probably increased rates of women.
Now, guys, do you believe that, or do you just believe that the default way of measuring what perversion was just based on men? And the same way that they realize that men and women, men are on the extremes of aggression, but when it comes to like acting on aggression on the median, like there's a lot. Men and women can be equally as aggressive, but men are more outwardly aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So with men being violent, our violence is so outright that it's easy to judge. But with women, it's a lot more subtle, right? So I honestly think that the women have these same types, the same rates of this. It's just never manifested, or there was nothing like social media to have documented evidence of this. Clown world.
Men abusing children, as students, and the research looking into this seems to indicate that for female teachers, it's usually
Jameson. He looks like the dude from Hanson versus Predator, the bald guy with the egg head. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, Red Mist, what's going on, man? Long time, man. Long time. Red Mist, man. One of the longest supporters of this channel. What's going on, man? Good to see you.
More contextual and
Yeah.
situational.
Mike
So
Monzi. Yep.
with male abusers, we often think of a man as having a fixed sexual interest towards kids. And often we think of men who even seek out work with kids because they know they're attracted to kids. But it appears to be the case that for female perpetrators in an organizational setting like a school, they're not usually coming to the school with an interest in children or a sexual attraction to children. And it's really what happens during the course of their employment. There are situations that arise. There's different contexts that they find themselves in where they begin to cross boundaries. And one thing that impacts that is technology. So in most of these cases, the grooming starts with text messages and explicit photos from cell phones. And so that also may explain these potentially increased rates that we're seeing in recent years. There could be a factor here of social media or just different apps where people can communicate with using text and emojis and photos, where that's kind of leading to a breakdown in boundaries, the traditional boundaries that you think of between a teacher and a student.
That's so well said. And to give everybody a little bit of an understanding about this, the Daily Mail, they reported that 25 female teachers have been arrested in 16 states in only the last year.
In the last year. And those are the ones we know of. Look at that, guys. Look at that.
So it kind of gives you a weird, interesting perspective on that. But
August Lyon, even more than that. Any guy that's alone with kids, period, is seen as suspicious. Do you guys know, we're like, oh my God, so we're trying to move to a more egalitarian society, and women should be able to be the breadwinners, and men should be able to stay home. Guys, go to any forum about dads, or go to Reddit, or go to anything, and see the guys that are saying, look, that their wife is a doctor or a lawyer, and they decided to stay home and take care of the kids. Everywhere that they go, people call the cops on them. If they're at a playground with their kids, all the moms look at them funny. If they try and pick the kids up from school, the school won't release the kids to their own father. Clown world. You know what I mean? And it's not men doing this. It's women that are saying any man who wants to be around his kids or whatever, that wants to be around kids, is a sicko, a weirdo, etc. And it's absolutely insane.
Let's make sure we clarify this. Are you saying that this hasn't always happened? This hasn't always been what's been going on, and maybe it wasn't reported? I mean, we live in a day and age where stories can be.
Addie says women can be as bad, but I can't believe it's as prevalent. They never got. Well, Addie, women victimize people who they know. TCAP was set up to get people who were looking for strangers. The TCAP model almost caught a woman with the Mr. Gary. I'm going to lose everything I got. That woman that was with him almost came to the house too. So they almost got a woman, right? But the TCAP style sting will probably never catch a woman because they only victimize, people that they're close to. So students, family members, etc. So guys, I used to have a job, that involved people that do this type of stuff, and the first person that I ever met was a female sex offender who liked to have sleepovers, have her son who was 13 have sleepovers, and then she would sleep with her son's friends. Yikes.
Amplified and ultimately circulated in a way that they've never been before. You're saying there's actual episodes of sexual misconduct happening between female educators and children. This is a real trend. This is a real rise that we're seeing right now. It's not that it's just being reported more.
Well, so I'm saying a couple of things. So I think that this most likely has gone on since time immemorial, and we didn't know about it. and that as we became as a society.
Dude, straighten your tie, bro. Like, what are you doing? And guys, this guy needs to grow a beard or something. I don't know. Like, this hairless look is
Or a
not
nose
working.
job.
Is it? It's
think
just
it's too
not
thick.
work. It's just not working for him. You know what I'm saying? He looks like an alien or something. I don't know.
Society more aware of sexual abuse, we've been more focused on men as
Right.
abusers, and we haven't really been aware that women do it. But we know that it's gone on since time immemorial. I'll give you just one example. If you read Kirk Douglas's autobiography, which I highly recommend, it's a great book, The Ragman's Son, he was a very handsome kid. And he describes in his autobiography that he had a teacher who had a sexual relationship with him. And he never reported it. And this was something that happened. So I'm sure that this has happened since time immemorial. We don't have enough data to say with certainty that it's happening more now than in.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Sorry.
You seem like
Okay, perfect. Hold on.
you seem like
Okay, guys. I'm trying to get all my sounds back. So
the past, but my impression is that it is happening more now than in the past.
Yeah.
And we're hearing about so many more cases, and we're also seeing that the age of the boys is starting to trend younger and younger. So the typical typology of a female abuser is someone in their mid-20s to their mid-30s.
Yep.
So it's not usually a brand new teacher. It's usually an early or mid-career teacher. The teachers are usually experienced and they don't have a history of abusing anyone, but they start to try to have their emotional needs being met through relationships with students, either because they're lonely or isolated or
That's clown world, because a lot of them are married and have kids, right? You know what I'm saying? Maybe they married some Poindexter who they didn't like, but I don't know about that, you know?
aren't going
Yeah, but
well in
a
their
young
own
boy is going to put her
relationship.
on a pedestal. She's going to be his whole world.
Ridiculous, man.
Where they develop a depression and they start to cross boundaries with these boys. But traditionally, we thought of the female abusers as abusing older adolescent boys who were 15 or 16 years old. And like in this case, the boy was 14, and we've seen a trend of younger and younger boys. And again, we've seen that this is often beginning through cell phone use. So I think that if you put that together, it does sound like the numbers are increasing and the severity of this pattern of abuse is worsening as well.
Let's explore that a bit. And I think you make a great point that with the advent of technology, with the advent of social media, phones, those barriers can be broken down. But you got to the heart of what I was trying to understand is why this is happening. So if you have female educators who are, like you said, lonely or they're in a bad relationship, now they are in a position around these young students, both, you know, boys, girls. And what I think is interesting,
Guys, anytime these knuckleheads, guys, I'm all about equality, right? So if you're gonna throw men under the jail, throw women under the jail, right? But guys, did you notice? Did you see this, guys?
a woman who
That Susan Smith might be let out of prison, right? Look at this. Okay, and guys, we all remember what Susan Smith did, right? Remember, she deleted all her kids, right? And what was her first excuse?
And I'm just trying to tell you that I have mental health issues. I'm extremely distraught. I feel like my whole life is ending.
And everyone believed her at first. Absolutely insane. You know what I mean? So
another
I hope she doesn't get out of jail. Really, really don't, because she's not sorry.
on the student, on the minor.
Well, absolutely. So, 20 years ago, people would kind of wink or laugh and say, well, it's not the same as abusing a girl, oh, he was lucky, 6.
Jameson, did I have a super chat sound for this? This channel? Oh, well, I'll use this one. Addie with the $5. I appreciate that.
That's perfect. That's the perfect soundbite.
Guys, dropping a video on Sunday, guys, and then I have to put out that one with that takedown episode. So, guys, I'll do that this weekend.
Hey, is my audio okay?
Hmm?
The external mics aren't working right now, so I'm
Oh, really?
a little off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
as long as it sounds okay.
I can hear you. Yep.
16-year-old boy got to have a sexual experience with an older woman. But I think that what we've seen over time is that really it interferes with their normal development.
It does.
It can cause the boy to become fixated on this authority figure rather than developing normal, healthy relationships with girls his own age. And
But also, you would think that it would mess up their ability to like learn and respect boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Just kids should not be engaging in this type of behavior, period. Let alone with an adult. Hey guys, what was that? California legalizing. I gotta be careful how I Google this here. Hold on. Okay, look at this, guys. In September, a new law signed by the California governor amends a former law by giving judges discretion on listing an individual as an offender if they have a consensual backdoor and mouth relations with a minor age 14 or older. Clown world! Clown world. Did you hear that, Jameson?
So they don't have to list them as a sex offender if they
No.
have
It's up to the
not do
judge's
it?
discretion. So they basically legalized men having relations with 14-year-olds. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. There's no reason why this should happen. None. And this is... Guys, at this point, I'm telling you, the West Coast can just fall off into the ocean, dude. Seriously. I'm dead. Other than the part Jameson is in. But then Jameson leave, and then it can sink. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Red Mist says, I went to Comic Who's in Houston and got 7 autographs. Randall. Oh, nice.
Robert Englund. I like that.
Robert Englund, nice. Jerry O'Connell. I don't know who Efren is. John Heder, nice. And John Cena, cool. Addie says, I do agree. This guy, it happens more now. I really think it's just a matter of getting. Yeah, a lot of women, a lot more women use social media.
Yes.
And there's more evidence now. So
also can lead to hypersexualization at a young age where they have unhealthy ideas about sex because they've had this kind of risky sexual relationship with an older person who was sending them, explicit photos.
I thought he was going to say risky business. Ding, 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 ding. Right?
And
I thought he was going to say risque.
Taking them to her home or in their car. So it really can sexualize the boys, get them to fixate in an unhealthy way, and really become a long-term trauma for them. I'll give you another example from literature. If you saw the Oscar-winning film The Reader, which was about a woman who was a former Nazi prison guard, and it's a fictionalized story, but in the story, and this was played by Kate Winslet, and I believe she won an Oscar for it, but and Ralph Fiennes was the actor who played the boy, but essentially she was a former Nazi prison guard, and she started to have a sexually inappropriate relationship with a child living in Germany after the war. And
guys, was it Ralph Fiennes is like one of the best actors. Like, I don't know why people don't talk about him more, but that guy's the man, dude. His name Rafe. That's his name, right? Fines. Yes, Ralph. Raph.
I was gonna say,
Raph. Rafe. Raph.
Ralph.
Dude, man. Dude, when he was that bastard in Schindler's List, dude. Oh man. One of the craziest bad guys of all time. Man, oh man, oh man. He was such a bastard in this movie. But he's one of my favorite actors, man, honestly. So, is he trying to talk bad about J.K. Rowling too? Sad. Anyways, yep, they always eat each other, right? Okay. Here's another one here. Where are we here? Look at this.
Hi there, my name is Nicole Verzi.
A PhD candidate studying psychology faces charges of homicide and assault. She's accused of killing a newborn baby and injuring that baby boy's twin.
Look at that.
I go over the allegations and what Nicole Verzi's lawyer has to say about them. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Nicole Verzi is a 29-year-old PhD candidate in clinical psychology at San Diego State University. She's also the daughter of a prominent cardiologist in New York City. But instead of studying or taking summer break, Verzi is in the Allegheny County Jail in Pittsburgh, facing a number of charges, including criminal homicide, aggravated assault, and child endangering. Verzi is accused of killing little Leon Katz, a 6.5-week-old twin.
How can someone do that? How?
Police say Leon died on Father's Day, and that Verzi had also harmed his twin brother by causing injuries to his genitals and scratches to his face. The probable cause affidavit says Verzi called 911 on June 15th before midnight and said Leon had suffered a bump to the head after falling from a bassinet. The document said the baby was becoming non-responsive. Leon was...
He said Chris Moore is the greatest actor in Hollywood.
rushed to the hospital. The affidavit said his parents had left Leon in Nicole Verzi's care after taking his twin brother to the hospital for the injury to his genitals, which Verzi had actually told them about earlier in the day. Police said Leon suffered a severe skull fracture and multiple brain bleeds.
What?
The affidavit says Dr. Wolford of the Child Advocacy Center informed Detective O'Neill that the injuries sustained by both John Doe and Leon Katz is consistent with having been sustained as a result of child abuse, as these are inflicted injuries that are not natural and not accidental.
Why would you
Verzi
do
agreed
this?
to speak to police at the police department. The affidavit states Verzi was unable to provide any plausible explanation for the cause consistent with the extent of the injuries that Leon Katz sustained while in her care. Verzi stated that she was with Savannah Roberts, Ethan Katz, and the twins on the day of 6/15 of 2024. That was a Saturday. They went on an outing in the afternoon hours, and she was out by herself at a grocery store after that. Verzi estimated that at approximately 18:30, that would be 6:30 in the evening, the parents took the John Doe to the hospital for an injury to the genital.
Can you imagine that you let this person babysit your twins and she deletes one of them and severely injures the other? Clown world.
Area. Verzi identified herself as the sole caretaker for Leon Katz while the parents and brother were at the hospital. Detectives said that Verzi told them that Leon was fine after his parents left, that he had eaten, soiled 2 diapers, and was burped. The affidavit continued. Verzi stated that she fell asleep for a period of time while Leon was in the bouncer seat. She woke up and went to the kitchen to get a bottle for Leon. At that time, Leon was in the bouncer seat, but not strapped into the seat. Detectives claim Verzi said she went into the kitchen and heard Leon screaming and then found him on his left side on the floor and picked him up. Leon died hours later at the hospital. It was Father's Day. The affidavit detailed the injuries that Leon's twin brother suffered.
So sad.
It reads, "It should be noted that your affiant spoke with Dr. Wolford, who stated that John Doe's injuries are as follows.
Ugh, Yeah,
An autopsy performed on Leon determined that his death was caused by blunt force trauma, and his
look at that, to a 6-week-old. Man.
death was ruled a homicide. His parents denied causing the injuries to Leon or his twin brother. For Nicole Verzi's part, her lawyer David Schrager told me she plans to plead not guilty, and he stressed that this case is at the beginning of the investigation. Schrager continued, "At the beginning of every case, there is a lot of confusion about what happened, and that's what the purpose of a trial is to find out what really happened, and that is our intention." Schrager continued, "This case is going to take a good amount of time, and we have to make sure that it is done thoroughly and properly versus quickly. And we're talking about the life of an infant. We're talking about the people that are left behind. We're talking about a 29-year-old young lady who's never been in trouble. And we need to make sure that we're doing it properly and appropriately as the law requires."
Now, Jameson, if you think this was a man, do you think that they would make this statement at all?
Would they have left a man alone with their children?
Facts, exactly.
Schrager said there will likely be psychological information that
There it
comes
is.
into play, along with medical experts on both sides evaluating the evidence. Let me tell you, the world can be a really pretty on YouTube. So, Joe, this case is pretty interesting to me. Very sad, first of all, but you have two little babies, 6.5-week-old babies, suffering injuries, it seems, within a matter of hours of one another. You know, the baby who survived, the twin who survived, is taken to the hospital by his parents. And then while they're there getting treatment for him for these injuries to his genitals and things like that, the other baby in Nicole Verzi's care allegedly falls over in a bouncer, suffers this massive head injury, and later dies.
She said in order to be a TV expert, you have to shave your head.
And you got to look like Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah, right? Yeah. He looks like Diet Danny Bonaducci, right?
So, wow. What are your first thoughts about this?
Well, just from the criminal investigative standpoint, we don't believe in coincidences. So when you
He even has the same voice. That kind of scratchy voice. Look at that.
see something like this happen, I mean, you have to just turn your attention right to the person who was last seen with the children and left with them when they were in good health.
Yeah.
So this is just part of the investigative 101 aspect of it. And it is a very disturbing situation. And this is the thing that keeps parents up at night. This is the kind of disaster that you.
No, Addie, they're twins. So they she was babysitting both the twins. They were twins, and then she was abusing them both.
Yeah, it sounds like she injured them both on the same night.
Yeah. Guys, what's this guy's name? Giacoloni? Whoa.
Giacconi.
Well, the first part of the investigation, you gotta say, "Oh!"
You're looking at, and parents just
who's committing crimes over here?
Really go into
gotta get to the bottom of this.
Something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, little Leon Katz, he's the twin who sadly passed away and died. His parents, Ethan and Savannah, they called Nicole Verzi a family friend. Her attorney, of course, says that she will plead not guilty. They're starting the very beginning of this investigation. They're looking into this. But they called her a trusted family friend. They obviously trusted her enough to watch their newborn babies. I mean, these are newborns, 6.5 weeks old. They're helpless, about as defenseless as you can get. They can't do anything for themselves. And what I find interesting, though, is that she notifies them, according to the affidavit, she notifies them about this injury to the other twin, the one who survived. They go to the hospital, and then she says the baby tumbles over in the bouncer while she's in the kitchen getting a bottle.
Oh, Addie has better listening skills than we do. So the one twin got hurt, and then she deleted the other twin. Man, look at that. I didn't know that.
What do you make of that? I mean, she notifies the parents of the injury to the baby, and they take the baby to the hospital. So, I mean, I guess that just begs the question, if you actually harmed the baby, why would you notify the parents about the injury?
Well, I mean, the question comes down to why does anybody do anything, right? So, just from the investigative standpoint, calling 911 is not unheard of. When calling and notifying the parents is not unheard of in situations like this. So, everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. They bring the child to the hospital, and right away, the doctors and the nurses, I'm assuming, say that this is inconsistent to what the story has said. So now everybody is on alert. And as we know, nurses and doctors are mandated reporters, which means the
Doctors.
police automatically get involved. And it really doesn't matter at that point what the family says, how good of a friend she is, or anything else. The police start taking this over as a criminal investigation as soon as the doctors and nurses say this is not adding up.
While the baby is at the hospital, the surviving twin with his parents, Nicole Verzi calls the hospital or calls 911 and says Leon has fallen over. My experience as a mother with babies, and I actually just Googled it to make sure, just, checking to make sure I was remembering everything correctly. The thought of a baby being able to move enough at that age
there's
to
no
knock
way.
a bouncer,
It's not happening.
over and to fall and suffer a massive skull fracture. Little 6-week-old babies can't do
move
anything.
that
I mean,
much.
most babies can't roll over by themselves
Or
for
hold
several
their
months,
heads
if
up.
not up to 5 or 6 months old. So they just kind of sit there. They don't really do a whole lot.
They eat and poop and make noise.
Just like a dog.
That's all they do. Yeah.
Gotta break 'em.
Just like Jeff Stacy most of his life.
You can at least make a sandwich and
Guys,
carry
I
a
can't.
shitload of
I
keys.
can't look at this dude's face anymore. I just can't, guys. I just can't. But guys, here we go again. Look at this. Look at the dynamic duo over here.
2 former educators are now defendants after being accused of sexual contact with students.
I have teenage kids, and I thought to myself, people are thinking it's a woman, and so some people are thinking, well, it's different when a woman does it to a boy. No, it doesn't matter. This is still always wrong.
According to court documents obtained by Law and Crime, 23-year-old Rayleigh Greason and 24-year-old Brooklyn Schuler have both been indicted by a grand.
Brooklyn? Look at that.
We're going to get Danny
jury
Bonaducci
for
again,
allegedly
aren't we?
having inappropriate relations with students.
It's really scary to think that you have employees who are over the age of 18 because they can work at schools. They could be working as a teacher's aide or whatever. That's why we have these laws on the books. You can't do it because you're working there. You can't be, doing the things that these two are charged with, or you'll be charged with a felony. And it's very much right on point, and I'm glad to see it happen.
The pair were both indicted by a Gordon County, Georgia grand jury on June 27th. Greason was charged with 2 counts of sexual contact by employee or agent in the first degree. Meanwhile, Schuler was charged with 1 count of the same charge.
Damn.
Well, I'm guessing, and again, I'm only guessing from experience, that these victims are over 16 because the age of consent in Georgia is 16. So if you have sex with somebody and you're 42 and 16, it's not necessarily a cool deal. But when you get to being in a position of authority, or the law used to say a person in custody, the legal term, and this is years ago, was that if you were a psychiatrist, as the statute reads, if you're a psychiatrist with the patient, if you're a nurse with the patient, if you're a police officer with somebody in your custody, or you're in a mental institution and you're a patient, there's a bazillion of them. And if you look at the legislative history in Georgia, it does go down through the years, kind of expanding this. So the way I read it is that these victims were over 16, and what made it a crime is that they were a coach, they were the aide, they were the substitute teacher. It's not real clear what their roles were at the school.
Guys, how long do you think before they turn on each other, right? And start snitching on each other, right?
Immediately.
Because guys, they're one of them's gonna snitch, and they're gonna see him. The other one's gonna walk by the interrogation room and see the other one talking.
Ellie, I'm gonna kill you, you fucking whore!
I mean, I was just this. She was doing that.
And then they're gonna. one of them's gonna be on the stand pointing the finger, right? it's gonna be.
I'ma kill your bitch ass, bitch.
That bitch right over there.
I hope you die of AIDS, ho.
Oh man.
And I haven't been able to figure out how old these young ladies are, but I'm assuming early 20s. I don't know.
The charges were brought under a special presentment, which, according to criminal defense attorney Meg Strickler, means a grand jury is meeting outside of their normal schedule to bring about the indictment.
Yikes, look at this. Ooh. Let's check on the right. Man, oh man, oh man.
So in Georgia, what it means is that in counties and in judicial districts that are more rural,
Yes, I'm so sorry. Oh man, look at that.
Gordon County, interestingly enough, I had I forget, I won't say he was, but he was a person who worked at a school charged with something very similar. So a little bit of an irony. Last time I was in Gordon was on a case like this. But when you go to a more rural, and Gordon County is about an hour and 15 or so from Atlanta. Don't hold me, that traffic could make it a lot longer. Once you get out more rural, the grand jury only meets like twice a year, 3 times a year.
What?
When you're in Fulton, they meet more often. So
don't give good directions.
That means that if they don't post bail, they're gonna be in jail for a long time, dude. Sucks for them.
Presentation was, we've got to indict this, so we're going to bring in grand jury solely for this case. And that's what a special presentment means. We went off our normal calendaring times of January to July. I'm making that up. Every county has different rules. But
Wait, Addie says usually double standards work against us. Are you saying work against women? See, okay. I think that in a lot of ways, practically, we okay. When people say double standards, there's this mindset that like men and women are interchangeable, right? So for instance, let's see, what's a double standard? So for instance, I was talking about the draft, right? Like, women don't need to sign up for the draft, and men do, right? So that's a double standard, but not just that. If I don't sign up for the draft, I can't vote, and I can go to jail. A woman doesn't have to sign up for the draft, and she can vote. So people that are claiming, which I'm fine with if we're not talking about equality, right? If we're talking about equality, either everyone should get drafted or nobody should get drafted. I don't believe in a draft. I don't believe in selective service. I think that the military should all be voluntary, right? But at the moment that women got the right to vote without having to sign up for the draft is when it stopped being equality and became about special treatment and not or about double standards, right? So I think that a lot of people that don't really stop and think about the double standards that are there, that they benefit from, and I would think that if especially like a lot of college educated, upper middle class, white women, me saying this as a black man, would actually think about it, they have a lot more double standards that help them than help me as a black guy. You know what I'm saying? So
I think double standards can go both ways.
pretend.
What's that?
Double standards can go both ways, basically.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess that there's people out there. I'm not saying Addie, but there's people out there that honestly think that like that one gender doesn't have any double standards that benefit them. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
it's not happening. So
that judicial circuit does January and July. They said, well, wait a minute, we want to.
oh yeah, that is true. August line, yeah. Wait, there's an example of double standards working against men, but that is individual cases here and then, and not part of the fabric of the world. It is true. Well, Addie, once you add race into it, yes, because white women outperform black men in every single way. Every single way. They earn more. They're more employed. They live longer, right? So if you talk about systematic, right? Women, where the biggest block are white women, do better than almost every single male group other than Asian men and white men. So in the fabric of society, white women have had it better than almost all other men. So if you're looking at it from my standpoint, I don't agree with what you're saying because of intersectionality, right? Like, I don't see it at all. There's no white woman on this planet that would choose to switch places with any black man at all. So I can say that those double standards that most women, because most women in America, that isn't true because I think it was like New Hampshire or Maine, and then places in the West, women could vote in the early 1800s. So, but either way, I digress.
I'm too focused on this photo of these couple here. What
right, with a gun?
What kind of insecure douche has to have a gun in this couple photo?
And right? Got to see if there's an indictment going to get brought down by this special group.
And the grand jury indictment revealed more details into what happened. According to court records, Greason allegedly had sex with 2 different male students between October of 2021 and January of 2022. She's accused of knowingly engaging in sexual intercourse and sexually explicit conduct with both boys while they were enrolled as students. As for Brooklyn Schuler, she allegedly engaged in sexual intercourse and sexually explicit conduct with 1 male student during that same time frame from October of 2021 to January of 2022.
Saying between that period of time, which you can have an indictment do it, say that, which means it happened during that 3-month period, but it's kind of leaving open for a juror to think it was happening the whole time. You see my point? And that's just a thing that gets extrapolated. It's not a legal concept, but it's something that they're like, well, wait a minute. It's not saying it happened on December 12th, of 2021. It's saying during a period of time. Makes you think more about, if you're a juror, then do they have proof of it being more than one time? Do they have text messages saying, hey, let me go meet you at the Hampton Inn? I don't know what's here. But the fact that they're co-defendants really makes me wonder, scratch my head. And again, if you get on social media is saying some really bad things about how, and I won't say it here, but they're pontificating some really awful things. And that's probably not true.
Despite the alleged sexual contact happening nearly 3 years ago, Strickler says it's possible there needed to be a lengthy investigation before bringing about the charges.
It's interesting. When I saw those dates, I thought the same thing we all thought. Why? I can tell you in general what could have happened, and then I'm going to tell you what I think did happen here. In general, criminal justice cases can take a year or 2 to investigate. Okay. So if
it was 1,800, 29 women of 217 voters voted in a congressional election in Upper Penns Neck Township in Salem County, New Jersey in 1800. And a total of at least 75 women voted in state or congressional elections in Upper Penns Neck from 1800 to 1806. So that's the earliest that women voted at all. And this is before, this is before universal men's suffrage. So there was women who had voted when only land-owning men could vote. So this is before all white men could vote. There were some women voting. And then in Somerset County, Jersey, 46 women voted out of the 343 total voters in this county. So, and this is right here. So as early as 1800, there was women voting in elections, and that was before black men could vote. Yeah. So they were actually moving towards this, and then they started changing the language to be gendered language to make sure that as states started doing voter laws, that it kept women out. Out of voting, but because there was no gendered language, people they could argue on a case by case, county by county, state by state basis that so October 1807, this is Burlington County, Jersey. Of 260 total voters in this county, 38 were women. This election marks one of the last elections in the state that women and free people of color are legally able to participate in. So, yeah. But then what happened was that a couple of states, just like in the South, where they started passing restrictive laws, just like, if I'm not incorrect, there were states in the West that allowed women to vote because they needed more voters, period. Either way, it's been years since I looked at this, but yeah, anyways, I digress.
There's a lot of labor intensive investigations. There are reasons why it takes so long. So in this case, maybe there were some cell phone discussions and they had to wait.
And this is it. This one. In Wyoming passed women's suffrage in 1869. So women had the vote in Wyoming in 1869. And then, yeah.
I don't know. I'm a white male. I feel like
what I'm saying is that it. I think that, because guys, I've noticed in the last Daddy, at the point only a few men could vote. That's landowning men. Universal male suffrage hadn't been passed yet. And I guess my whole point in this whole thing is when you study like the history of everything, what we learn in schools is not the complete truth, right? So like I've talked to like younger blacks who don't realize that there was things like the Harlem Renaissance and other things, or like all these institutions that like blacks and stuff have invented and contributed. And I've talked to women who don't know what the women in the 1800s and the 1900s, or even like regular men that couldn't vote and couldn't own property, what they were fighting for too. And what happens is once you realize that regular smegular dudes who were working in coal mines and dying and stuff, like that, it was a small percentage of dudes out there oppressing working class men, women, and everyone else, right? There's a bunch of rich landowning dudes who were treating everyone else like trash. And the narrative is like, oh my God, all men were treating all women, and all men were treating all blacks like trash. And it's divisive because you go to like Appalachia. I said that Jameson, I've brought this up before. The top 10 poorest counties in America are like 99% white. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to these Appalachian counties in Appalachia where there's mines and fracking and opioids, where everyone's ODing, is poorer than any ghetto or any hood in America. But you tell people that and they're like, huh?
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. And like, what are you talking about? And these are people that have been like drinking polluted water, had no access to education or school or anything for generations. But people automatically think that just because they're white people that they haven't had any struggles. And I'm like, that's a kind of reductionist way to think. And people think that me saying that as a black person, that's an odd thing to say. And what I'm saying is, guys, what did Bill Burr say the best? Life is a big shit sandwich, and we're all trying to take a bite. So if we spend more time helping each other, then the world would be a much better place.
For the GBI to do their review
That's
of
beautiful,
the
man.
messages.
Yeah.
And it took
Thanks,
that long.
man.
That's the only thing I can think of that's a rational explanation. Short of that, it could be simply their backlog because of COVID. And then finally, I think what did happen is that the lawyers, this is what I do in my life.
So how long have they been in jail?
These people aren't alone. All right. But what happened here is I have a feeling they were out socially. This didn't happen on school grounds. And so the school couldn't have protected. I'm just guessing, by the way, that it didn't happen on school grounds.
Yeah, she knows surprisingly a little about this case. I'm assuming that they haven't released a lot yet.
48 months.
And who is this, her
less,
husband?
and
I
it
hope
becomes
not.
A misdemeanor. And
Poor guy.
It must not have been, because they're charged, as sure as I can tell, with felonies here. So we don't know yet what's happening.
Guys, how much?
Why we
do you think that these two knuckleheads will get any jail time at all?
got here? Because
Where did this happen?
that's a young age, and it's almost, I'm not excusing,
North Carolina.
but we all have the
Oh, yeah.
excuse of young and dumb. And I'm not trying to say that what's going on here is something that I approve of, or the world approves of. But more importantly, when people are of 18 to 25, there is a young and dumb defense.
Unfortunately,
and they're awful young. They're awful young. But you got to wonder if there's any civil liability for the school district.
dude, they're adults. That's another thing that pisses me off. The whole 18 to 25. Guys, young men went to war and were, getting shot at in B-27s over Germany, right? Shooting down people doing bonsai charges at them and stuff, right? 19, 20, 21, what is that? They're not children still. And the faster that we get that mindset out of our heads, well, not out of ours, guys, because we know better.
Why would they employ people so young? You're kind of putting flames to the fire here a little bit.
The indictment also does not detail which school the two women were employed at. However, it's been reported the duo worked within the city of Calhoun's school district, but are now no longer employed with the district.
With respect to protect,
Guys, I don't think I've said my theory yet, right? Well, in a while. I think this is happening because we live in the most youth-focused society ever, right? Think about it. Guys, when I was young, I didn't listen to the same music that my dad listened to, right? You know what I mean? And my nephew's 18. I don't listen to any of the music he listens to. Any of that scooba-da-heeba-da-booba-da rap stuff, right? Because a lot of other 40-something-year-olds do. This is the first time in history where 45-year-old people and 18-year-old people listen to the same music. Different generations are not supposed to listen to the same music. Are not supposed to dress the same, act the same. Back in the day when I was in high school, all of my teachers, well, first of all, we had more male teachers, and now we have none. But all the teachers were married, had kids. They were adulting. Even the 23, 24-year-olds, they were they were nothing like us. But now, if you go to schools now, you get 14-year-olds, and you look at 22-year-olds, they dress the same, they act the same, they use the same slang. So I think that a lot of these young girls, they get out of college and they start teaching out of high school, and they still have the same mindset as a high school schooler. And maybe they weren't the it girl in high school, but now they're like, oh, well, here I am. I've kind of, had a glow up, and I'm going to try and get with the bad boy or the captain of the football team. It's like, you're not a high schooler. What are you talking about? So, yeah.
The schools and the soccer teams, the volleyball teams, and the cheerleading teams, you fill in the blank. They all pass background tests. So we all know that they had no criminal background prior to this. So we know that they're not, they got hired because they were perfectly normal, backgrounds, nothing on it.
I don't think blacks and women can argue with who is treated worse. If you read the early writings of the suffragettes, you saw how racist that they were. I don't think you would make this statement. I wish that a lot of my friends that are pro women wouldn't quote the first wave feminists as much when you saw what they said about and how angry that they were that black men had the right to vote. So and the fact that white women did own blacks also. So I think ultimately you can't make that comparison. So the second wave, fine, but that first wave, especially when they had the big march, it was supposed to be the northern women, the northern white women, and the black women. They were supposed to go to this march, but then the southern Jim Crow feminists showed up and said, we'll only participate if you kick the black women out, and they kicked the black women out. So, unfortunate.
But you have to realize, and most of the world today makes sure there's protections that these people aren't alone. All right. But what happened here is I have a feeling they were out socially. This didn't happen on school grounds. And so the school couldn't have protected. I'm just guessing, by the way, that it didn't happen on school grounds. Don't know. But most schools these days have a lot of surveillance.
How do you even... Guys, we have stranger danger and all this stuff, right? Oh, hey guys, if there's some creepy dude or whatever. But how would you even do a curriculum to to be on the lookout for one of these knuckleheads right here? Now, there are stupid things that we've seen, and Jameson back me up, right? Didn't we see a case of a teacher went on a ski trip with the family? You remember that?
Yeah, that was recently.
Yeah, or they allowed this young boy to hang out at the teacher's apartment. That's just stupid. Weird. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Why would anyone do that? Why? Doesn't make any sense. So I can say that, I can see that, right? But let's just say that you're completely blindsided. They would have to really, really understand what to look for, right? Because it's not like we can... I don't think we've ever seen chat logs from one of these chicks, right? Have we? No, I don't think so, right? So,
The duo might not even get jail time.
Look at that. Might not even get jail time. Clown world.
Could still be put on a sex offender registry.
If this is just stuff happened, and I'm not trying to make it sound less, but the more egregious of the storyline, the more punitive it will be. That's issue one. Issue two is when they were addressed by the detectives back in 2021.
I love that they bring this woman on, and her whole thing is, well, I'm just guessing. I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, why are you
Come
here?
on, get somebody out here who knows their stuff. Come on.
Well, here, you know what? We can get someone out here who knows his stuff. Okay. Let's just switch, guys. Let's just switch. Let's just move this around here. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. 1 second. Let's just do this here. Because you're right. There isn't much info here. But guys, we'll look at this.
Thank you very much for being with us today, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought this was a human trafficking one. Yeah, it is. Oh, this is fentanyl trafficking. Oh, man. Hold on. I don't think we looked at this one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us here today.
Hey, a white man with a full head of hair. There we go.
It's a very large operation, but I want to start by introducing you to some of our colleagues that joined us this time with this operation. We could not do this without our counselors.
Dude, Grady Judd is the best. He said, you remember there seems to be a rash of like women being attacked in New York. You know, do you think that'll happen in Polk County? He's like, no, because women in Polk County own firearms and they're not afraid to use them. Grady Judd should change his middle name to I wish a mother would. But he's right though, dude. Man, oh man, if you're a woman, guys, pepper spray, stun gun, or a 9mm, dude, straight up. I'd like to see someone try and mess with you then.
So I want to start with them. One More Child, Jody Domingue, Heartland for Children, Caden Parchment, and Salaya Freedom, Sarah Batchelder. In addition to that, this operation was on the west side of the county in the city of Lakeland, and we were assisted by several police departments.
Did Kathleen Hambrick know that this was going on?
A special thanks goes to the Lakeland Police Department. We have Assistant Chief Pacheco.
All right.
We talk about this. We don't hide it. And if you don't know about it, you obviously live under a rock. So you had to learn the hard way. But for the rest of you, pay attention, because this is not the last operation. We'll have more.
Good.
And we'll give you the opportunity to be arrested.
So
if you're
for those of you guys who
stupid
might
enough
not
to
be
show up.
familiar, Grady Judd, he's a Polk County Sheriff. He's the man, right? Because he doesn't play around. You do things to women, children, or whatever, you're going away for a long time, right? And he makes sure of that. If you're defending your property, if you're defending yourself, let's just say he understands. He does TCAP style stings in his county, and he catches people, a lot of people, okay? And he makes sure that they get the book thrown at him, you know? So he actually worked with Chris Hansen in Takedown, so.
That's a guarantee. In addition to that, 42 of these folks were married. And I've got some quotes from wives that I'll give you in a little.
42. Damn.
Little bit. And some people say, well, this is not a big deal, but at the end of this operation, I'm going to talk about the 21 illegal aliens we arrested in much more detail. Criminal charges. Oh, it's a low-level misdemeanor, and these aren't violent people. These people had a previous history of 2,038 arrests.
Look at that! And this is the issue with Oakland, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. They're soft on crime foolishness, man. You know what I'm saying?
Did you hear what I said? These people are criminals in their own right, most of them, not all of them. 879 previous felonies, 1,159 previous misdemeanors. We dealt with 17 firearms this time by 15 different suspects. 44 people brought narcotics. 12 people came and had outstanding warrants. We appreciate that. They came to us. We didn't have to chase them down.
He said, we appreciate that. They came to us. We didn't have to catch them. Look at that. Look at that.
One was a commercial pilot. We had all branches of, we had a branch of the military in teachers, and I'm going to talk specifically about those in a minute. But the comments. One wife sent the detective a message the next day. She said, "Good one, guys. Thank you for helping me in my marriage. Keep doing what you're doing." One John said he worked overtime today and he just needed to blow off some steam. Well, we gave him a chance to also cool his heels in the county jail. Another one said, "Well, I came here because, I'm going to be incapacitated for 10 days. I got to turn myself in Monday at the county jail for 10 days. The judge sentenced me to previously." Wait, you don't have to turn yourself in. We're going to give you a ride and some additional criminal charges to go through it. One John who was married said, "Well, sometimes you just need to see something different." Well, he did. He saw a different woman, but she was undercover. Then he got to see the jail. I would hate to see what it's like at his house when his wife, who's obviously going to watch
Guys, I
this-
live in the DMV, and they had one in the 90s where they said, "Oh yeah, hey, you have free Redskins tickets," and they caught 50 people.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
Fist.
Yeah, you got to come here and get your tickets.
Yep,
And
they
sure
did a
enough,
30 for 30 on that. It was
yeah,
great.
they showed up and.
finds out that he just needed to see something different. And then there was a John that was married for 26 years. He said his wife was at the Hard Rock Casino, and he was at...
Yeah, Addie, that's true. Because you guys remember, Jameson, who was the guy who brought his son?
Clifford.
Clifford, yeah. His wife stuck with him. Clown World. Absolutely insane. They gave their son up, and then they stayed together and had another kid. Clown World. How sick is that?
Y'all thought I was going to say something, but I'm not. But it didn't turn out to be the Hard Rock Casino.
Catwag said, I saw that some of the people, they were being handcuffed and still asking if they would get the tickets.
Yeah, the woman officers, when they're covered, they would basically frisk the guys, and then if they thought he had a weapon, they'd give him a balloon. Oh, you're a special winner. You get a balloon, which meant to the officers, hey, this guy could be armed. But they're just like, yay, I'm a winner, yay.
So they're trying to say that Wallen's wife stuck by him during the trial because she just couldn't believe that he was guilty pleas. And then once the trial's over, I don't know. How could someone be that stupid? And then I can't believe Wanderler got married again. Guys, if you watch the video I did on Wanderler, he tried to start a garage door business, and then someone snitched on him on his Facebook page. Like, hey, yo, this guy was on TCAP.
It did turn out to be The Rock, known as...
I can't believe Meat Rocket got married again.
Grady Town, or the county jail. One John was married. He said he came here to play golf. Well, I got to tell you, I've heard it called a lot of stuff, but never playing golf. And there was no hole in one. One John said he left his wife and 5 children at home. One prostitute said she'd only been here 2 days. She was here from New York to make money.
What? Wait, what?
And instead she came to New York on vacation, and she's going to leave here on probation. But let's talk about specific people.
August Lyon says, I bet he married a dog lover.
Real quickly as I go through this. First we'll start with our athletes. This is Edwin Madrino. He's 54. He's from New York City, New York. He's self-employed, according to him, as a volleyball tutor. He used to be a coach at Monroe Junior College in New York. We don't know if he's still a coach or not. He said he tutors children as young as middle school.
Ugh.
He came for sex with a lady. He wanted to pay $150. Oh, by the way, in January of this year, he was arrested in Hillsborough County for what? The same thing.
Dang.
He's married, but his wife's proud of him.
So he got arrested for it once before, and she's still married to him.
Danny Trejo Jr. over here.
Arrest in 2 counties in Central Florida. I don't know if this gets to New York City or not, but
this
we'll
stuff's
put
made
it
in
on
New York
social
City.
media and
New
she'll
York
have
City.
Options. Benjamin Johnson, he's from Plant City. He's a golf.
Okay.
Look at this guy.
Is that Dustin McFedrich's cousin?
Yeah, that's what he looks like.
Pro. He's also an athlete at Eaglebrook in Lakeland. That's right. He's PGA specialized teacher and coach.
He's an athlete.
And
he's
he came for sex
he's
with a
wrestling,
female,
dude.
$150. He has a criminal history of cannabis and dealing in stolen property.
Dang.
So
all around winner.
He can teach you to play golf, or he can teach you how to deal in stolen property, or how to get caught at dealing.
Here's the crazy thing, guys. It's not that difficult to stay out of jail in the United States of America. Seriously, it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, we aren't like Singapore or other places where they have these draconian laws. You know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult to stay out of trouble. You know? So I really don't feel bad for any of these knuckleheads. You know what I mean?
And stolen property. Then there's Wilman Santa Cruz, not to be confused with Santa Claus. He's 50.
He comes bearing gifts.
He says he's a triathlon coach, a certified triathlon coach, and he's a triathlon athlete. You know what's strange about this? The dude showed up with meth. I mean, does that help you perform better when you're a triathlon athlete? Or do triathlon athletes, who you would think would be the kind of people who took care of their body, was using meth?
No, guys, come on. Guys, cyclists, triathletes, all these people, guys, a lot of them dope, dude. Guys, cycling is probably the most doped up sport there is. Those cyclists like Lance Armstrong and all the other guys and the 20 guys behind him, they're doing more substances than Arnold and Ronnie Coleman and all those bodybuilders, dude. Seriously. To be able to perform like that for that long, back to back to back to back to back, they're in the mountains of France, going that speed for that long is absolutely superhuman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're not doing meth, though. They're not going to... They'd have to stop in the middle of the triathlon to steal someone's car stereo.
Seeking out the interest of a lady of the evening. Then there's Sergio Collins. He currently is a progressive insurance claim adjuster, but he's married. I bet his wife's not happy.
Look at his face, guys.
And he says on his LinkedIn page that he's a middle school football coach at...
Okay. Okay. A lot of the cocktails... Okay. Guys, we know steroids are bad for us, but we can't definitively say so because you can't do trials on steroids, right? Ethically. You can't ethically do, like, studies on these things, right? But a lot of times these athletes will take a cocktail of steroids and amphetamines, right? That's how a lot of these bodybuilders and stuff can work out for 6-7 hours a day, 4 or 5 hours straight, lifting heavy weight, is because they have not a methamphetamine, because that's a different chemical compound, but an amphetamine, right? And oftentimes you'll see these cyclists and stuff, they'll have like EPO that makes your blood thicker, and put some more what is it called? Red blood cells in your blood, so that you get tired. But oftentimes when they train, there'll be some type of amphetamine in there. So
Lakeland Christian School, they said
yeah,
no.
amphetamines give you lots and lots of energy. You know, that's why Washington State, where I'm from, where there's a bunch of meth heads, you like be driving home from work at like 2 o'clock in the morning. If you work late, you see all these meth heads just running around at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Especially if it was like winter time, you'd always know who the meth heads were, because they would be shirtless, like running down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's like 20 degrees out. So
Way he is not a coach at Lakeland Christian Schools. So when you're doing your press, don't look him up online and take Sergio at his word. The school says absolutely not. He thought he was going to come have sex. But then, of course, if you're going to have coaches and teachers, you might as well have a straight up teacher. This is Gene Ahume. He's 26, from Auburndale. He's a teacher at New Beginnings High School, where he teaches math and science. He came to have sex. He called it a quick visit for $60. Well, since he's able to teach math, he can figure out that it didn't add up when he came to this time. Then Brandy Barnes. She's an IT specialist at Tampa General Hospital. We're going to get to the medical world for a minute. We did the coaches, we did the teachers.
They caught some chicks in this thing. What? Whoa, Jameson! Did you see that coming? Look at that, guys. This took a left turn, right?
She has a criminal history of meth arrest.
I was going to say, is there meth involved?
She agreed to provide sex to an undercover.
He said, "Yo, man, I'll suck your D.
I'll butter your bread, boy." So she was out there slanging the nene. I wonder why, because it sounds like she has a decent job. Huh.
For 1 hour. Okay. Then this is Luxon Jean Brinville. He's 38. He's married. He's in the medical field. He's a RN, a registered nurse at Manatee Springs Nursing Home. He wanted to have sex. He has a criminal history of DUI. So you can still work as a RN if you get drunk.
Rocco, man, what's going on? Good to see you, man.
Can drive. I'm interested to see if they're going to do anything to his license for a morals act of trying to have sex. We'll find out. Luis Navarro, he's from Puerto Rico. He's 61. He's a veterinarian. He's retired from the USDA. He came over to have sex, but his veterinarian license is still current. Maybe I can talk the judge into putting him in the county jail, because we always need help with spay and neuters at animal control.
I'm sorry, guys. That's hilarious.
Joe Wonderler's ears peaked.
I know, like who? And Marvin too.
This is Traycon Giles. He's from Tampa. We're going to the military now. He's a staff sergeant in the Air Force. He came for sex, and he said, well, he's done this before about 6 months ago. He doesn't learn very fast. I can't believe the Air Force would have a slow learner, but I guess they do. And then there's Jaden Hall. He's 19. He's scheduled to begin his Air Force training in May. And oh my goodness, he had a meltdown. This can't happen to me. This can't happen to me. I'm going into the Air Force.
Not anymore.
Well, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Who knows?
Grady lost
and then there's
some weight.
Brandon Bush. He's active Air Force as well. Air Force was the only branch of the service we caught this, or Air Force wannabes. He's scheduled at MacDill. He's an Airman First Class. He's not only in the military, but he's a military police officer. So since
now,
we
that's
talked
not
about,
irony, I don't know what is, right, guys?
Isn't that Prince Nassim
military,
Hamed?
and he's a military
Right.
police officer. Let's get to our law enforcement officer.
Here we go.
Y'all Kusi, he's 23. He used to be a detention deputy for me. We fired him when he was arrested in Orange County on February the 9th.
So he used to be one of the deputies for Polk County. Look at that. And now all these guys are waiting in jail.
Please don't put this in TV. Don't put this in TV.
No, I take that back. He resigned before we got around to firing him. And then we arrested him again on February the 23rd. So on the 9th, he got arrested in Orange County and resigned. On the 23rd, we arrested him again. And he said, hey, is this a felony now that I'm arrested the second time? He didn't pay attention in the police academy because he hasn't been convicted yet.
Is his last name Westerbeck?
So while we were interviewing him, and we go, like, dude, what are you doing? You went from being a stellar employee to committing morals crimes, and it's 2 in a month. He said, I got a problem. No kidding. You got a big problem. Then there's
Grady.
Alex Everett. He's 34. He says he's on disability. He doesn't work, so that we're paying him to do things like have sex. He called it a quick visit. In his car, we found cocaine, fentanyl, cannabis, a gun. He picked up an armed trafficking and cocaine and fentanyl charge in addition to his misdemeanor soliciting
Look at
charge.
that.
Oh, he's got a criminal.
Addie, if you haven't, guys, if you don't watch Grady Judd regularly, do yourself a favor. Yo, this guy's got some of the best zingers, and it's even crazier because this is Jameson. What was the one case where he was honestly like mad, like upset? Okay, when there's things that are happening to kids is when his demeanor changes because he's not like he tries to keep things a little bit lighthearted, but there was the woman who like ran her ex-boyfriend over while he was holding their child. So this woman got mad at her boyfriend, and he left the house because he's like, look, I can't handle you yelling. He's in the driveway. She jumps in the car, puts it in gear, and runs the guy with their child over. Watch that press conference, and you'll see the difference in how we. But generally, he's pretty hilarious. But I like him because he has that tough on crime. Like, if you do this stuff, there is no, oh, you need to understand his story or her story. It's like, no, dude, you are a bad person that does bad things, and you need to be punished. You know.
History.
He's no
robbery,
nonsense.
fleeing, armed trafficking, and he spent 8.5 years in prison for some of those violent things. He says he's on disability. He's not disabled, folks. He's able to commit crime, and if you're able to commit crime, you ought to be able to go to work. He just doesn't like to work, obviously. And then there's Joseph DeBello. He's 46. He's from Wildwood. He's married. He's a plumber. He also said, let me see if I can find it here. He also said that.
Did he say he's Joe the plumber?
Yeah.
He's a pagan. He's a member of an outlaw motorcycle group. Now
He's
said
got
a lot
props.
Of things, you know? They say, by the way, he was super nice. He's a relatively new member of the pagans, and he explained all of this. He was very proud of his outfit.
Dude, where did that come from? He just Alakazammed it. Look at that.
See, we asked him about this, and he said, well, because I have this safety pin here, we thought maybe it was for big underwear or something. He said, when you have it like this, you're sending a message to all the other different motorcycle gangs that you're just passing through and you're peaceful and you don't want any problem. So he had his diaper pinned, so he didn't want any problems, but he got problems. But he told our undercover, you see, there's rules about this jacket. The rule is that, well, no one is supposed to touch this jacket. Okay, but the member, you see, no one.
Look at Grady Judd. Look at it. As he's tapping it, no one's supposed to touch this except the member. As he's touching it, he's got his hands all over it.
And
you gotta leave his DNA all over that
jacket inside out to hang it up. We chose not to do that too. Why we're not touching it.
How are they keeping a straight face, dude? How?
He said that his wife was going to really be mad. And he used other words. Well, we called her. And guess what? He was right. She was really mad. And I bet the pagans are really mad. Because, see, he's not been a member but just a few months. And here, now he's disparaged them. And the cops have one of their jackets. And they've been handling it. And, you know, we didn't hang it up backwards or any of the other rules that they have. But, hey, Joseph, I don't know how well you do plumbing business, but you don't do very well at following the rules.
Why does he wipe his ass with that jacket?
I'm going to go over this really quick. These two guys are brothers. Omar's 16, Caleb's 17. They came down from Wesley Chapel, which is in Pasco County, and guess what? They came down to rob us at 16 and 17. We saw them slinking in the hallway, listening through the door. They set up the deal, but it just wasn't right. They were dressed all in black. They had their face covered. And when we took them down at their car, they had a BB gun that looked like a real gun. That could have gone really bad for them. But instead, they're just charged with soliciting and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, by the way, they have a criminal history for burglary and larceny out of Hillsborough County just recently. They're juveniles. We're going to see how the system deals with them to get them in line so they don't end up with the rest of their life ruined. But before I turn it over to my colleagues here, they worked with us to make this happen. And what this is, and I want everybody to see it clearly, federal policy drives illegal immigrant crime and victimization. And that's the focus, other than our victims of human trafficking. Listen, folks, I want to introduce you to Andres Gill, okay? Here's this guy. He's also on this board, but get a look at him for a second. He came down here from New York with 3 females. All of them are in the country illegally. Did you hear what I said? They're all here illegally. He's the one that comes with them to drive them.
Man.
These ladies are all controlled by a human trafficker. We think their human trafficker is a female. She sets up their appointments.
Yeah,
she puts
guys,
their...
that's true, guys. I think it's like just under half or half of the people involved in human trafficking are female. These madams, these chicks that end up, luring in the girls, right? They only talk about the men, guys, but a lot of times these girls, there'll be a girl who will tell their friends back home that think, oh, you send them over here because I'm going to some all-girls school, and they get caught up. But guys, look at this. This is what irks me. This chick is the opposite here of Grady Judd, right? This is a news report on why there's so many violent carjackings in DC. And look at this knucklehead's reasoning, and then I'll have to shut this bad boy down. Watch.
If property crime is also down and burglary is also down, why are we seeing an increase in carjackings? I mean, we saw an increase in the price of used cars and trucks go up by 40%. That's a very high number. I think people are really struggling to afford cars, and it's really sad because.
Did you hear that, guys? Did you hear that? So she's saying the reason why violent carjackings have gone up is because the used car market prices have gone up 40%.
Yeah, I know you're doing making a point here, but I gotta ask that lady, how you doing?
Isn't that crazy though? Like, this is the reason why San Francisco, Seattle, where I'm from, looks the way it looks. Why? What kind of stupid? There's no excuse to carjack people, right? Absolutely insane. And then
She makes a good point. Capitalism is to blame.
And then they so the other news person says that the people that are getting arrested are like not even really driving age. It's the same 20, 30, 40 people that are like 14 to like 17 years old that don't drive and don't own cars are not being punished and being let out over and over and over again. So this mindset of, oh my God, there has to be a story, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And that's why I like Grady Judd. So Old School Glass, what's up, man? Yeah, the Old School Glass says, heaven forbid if the airfares go up. People will be jacking planes, you know what I mean? So, but, all right, you guys, hey, we're at an hour and a half. I'm going to log out, guys, but what we can do is, he just released a TCAP style Sting recently, I think in the last month and a half. I thought that was the one, so we can go over that next Friday, guys. We will. But, guys, that's one thing that I think people when they say, oh my God, we can't be tough on crime because it's victimizing certain marginalized groups. Are you trying to say that certain marginalized groups only commit crimes? Clown world, right? Guys, I've been black for 43 years, and every black person I know wants more tough on crime because we don't want these knuckleheads in our neighborhoods either. So, Jameson, any closing words?
Yeah, I've been white for 43 years, and I agree.
All right, guys. I'll be dropping two videos this weekend, and yeah, guys, catching the next one. And if they're still lighting off firecrackers where you are, guys, be careful out there, man. Seriously. So, all right, guys, have a good one.